Don't cross it.
Tay may be high.
It's streaming,
never
and
know.
he's currently streaming the shot of a spreadsheet of him just writing everything down for those people who need closed captioning.
It's
Yes.
called Arcade Early Access on a stream, so we got to be careful on this one.
All right, so everybody should hopefully have done the speed run straight through to get all the Gilda stars. Hopefully, you're familiar with it enough that if you fall behind, you're not going to be completely fucked. Because what we're going to be doing is we have an island that we've picked out, and we are going to land rush it. And everybody who's going to be on early access is going to be assigned something that they're going to be buying. Now, we're just going to do it to fill up the island completely. So it's a combination of cottages, farmhouses, and crafter stations. In particular, the farmhouses and cottages are not going to remain there because what we'll eventually be doing is clearing all of that, and we'll be replacing it with guild farms. Now, this island is going to be only for the guild farms. So, like, when you put something down there, it's going to be required that it's not your personal farm. Like, you can see Leoc already has a thread up that's going to take requests, and you're going to be able to plant on things and pull off things. But this entire island is going to be based solely so that we can get everything down and that nobody else is going to be able to come onto the island. So what I'm going to do now is, if you're in TeamSpeak, which obviously you are, I'm just going to go down the list and assign you something now. You don't have to write it down, but it will be up on a thread. So, let's see, Kroger's not here. That means, Ross, you're getting a cottage.
Good, because I was just going to poke you and say, assign me to a cottage.
We also need one of the crafting stations. Anyone that you assign a cottage,
also get a crafting
one of the
station.
crafting stations.
Yeah. So you have a cottage and smelter. Gary, you'll have a cottage and stonemason. Then we get into the thatched farmhouses. Mech, you're going to get a thatched farmhouse.
Thank you.
Cortho, you're going to get a thatched farmhouse.
Roger that.
Tex, you're getting a thatched farmhouse.
I'm sure Dad.
What was that?
Speaking
I think someone keeps hitting their push to talk on accident.
I think Vale was. See who we got here. Oh, Miss Beld, you're getting a thatched farmhouse?
No.
Drags, you're getting a thatched farmhouse? And then that leaves me getting one.
Mouse
And are these
got
gonna-
reset.
Are these going to be on the first character?
These are on the very first character. This is just, like, if it's not going to be your main, you don't have to worry about it. This is just solely Gary and Leo have kind of walked off the island and figured exactly what will fit.
Sounds good.
All right, then we got 3 more we got to sneak in here. Demelon.
Actually, correction on that, Burma. On the list where you have the leatherworking station, the loom crafting station, and additional crafting station, there's actually 3 additional crafting stations we need to grab. Me and Gary
2.
discussed that.
2.
Well,
Went from 6 to 8.
So is it
correct.
2
The one,
2 total or 3 total?
it'll be 3 total. Because the one I have listed as additional crafting station, Gary, counted as your 6th crafting station in the original list. And then we added 2 more. See what I'm saying?
All right.
Because you need 8 total, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That puts Tay's going to get a leatherworking station. Damelon's going to get a loom crafting station. And then our final three. Who have I skipped? Have I skipped anybody who's going to be on early access?
Gundorf,
Acid.
Mythian.
Acid, you're getting one.
Gundorf will not be on early access.
How
Fast,
about
you
for
said?
early access?
Wait, did you skip me, or am I not paying enough attention?
I haven't said you're going to be on in early access. Like the second servers come up.
Yep. Namius, I think, as well.
Yes, I will. All right, there's our last two then. Don't Blink, Acid, and Namius.
Flappy will be on as well the moment servers come up.
Okay, well, we'll have something for you. It just doesn't have to be specifically assigned. Just we needed to have these exact things to mark off the island.
If Flappy's going to be on, have Flappy get a clipper recipe.
Okay,
That way it
there we
does
go.
not require a second run to at least get the first clipper out.
Got it. Clipper recipe.
So where do we normally buy all these?
So these are purchased on Mirage Island.
There's a portal to Mirage Island in every zone, at least one portal. It's a separate zone that just is basically a island where you can buy stuff that all costs either gold or gilded stars.
Same place we go to upgrade the glider, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Except if you're a founder, you probably won't be doing
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to need it this time around. Now, that's strictly through our first run, and because we've really, like, if you've done it enough times, you probably can get the speed run done in an hour 5, hour 10. Like, there's going to be other guilds just like us who are rushing it. But really the goal is for us to get out and get our island, and so it's completely ours, and nobody can even stick anything on it just to be a dick. So then, obviously, what we're going to focus on after that is we're going to get into the farming quests. To pick up the different scarecrows to run the trade packs. Now, when the Korean release and Russian release happened on actual like Go Time servers or live, they changed up the recipes for what were required. So, for example, all along we've been planning for dried meat, grapes, olives, narcissus for dried flowers. We're hoping that they're not going to change that on us, but if they do, then we're going to have to sort of alter the plan just a little bit. Now, so before we start using our slots for the public farms, nurseries, and ranches, we definitely want to confirm that the recipes haven't changed. So don't go throwing anything down. We don't want to waste those spots. Now, the things that we will definitely focus on no matter what, we still need to get to level 15 on characters, get people to pop a labor potion, so that we can start working on our stone packs, our lumber packs, our fabric packs, and our iron packs. Because we know no matter what, we want to have the clipper and then a cottage on the sawmill, a cottage and a sawmill up on the farm island, because we want everybody to be able to port right there. So no matter what, even if the trade quests go down, still as a guild effort, we'll have a clipper, we'll have a cottage, and we'll have a sawmill up within day one. Now, we're not going to need to do the clipper recipe, Leok. We can cross that off with Flappy. That takes enough for that, so we don't have to worry about that one.
Correct. What that frees up is, first of all, we need to assign who's going to be doing, what 3 people are going to be going for gathering stone, what 6 people are going to work on the illegal tree farm. And remember, you're doing this on your first account, so that may not be your main account. That's really your call. So don't worry about that account getting skill up in a craft that you're not really going to use. We just need to get those things done.
Yeah, I guess I should have started by saying the race to this game isn't to level cap. Like, you're just going to get level cap naturally. Leok has talked a lot about how he may get there without killing a single mob outside what's needed for the story quests. Our goal is to get out in front of everybody as far as claiming land and producing the resources that we need. So, it's again, your first character is going to rush stone, lumber, or fabric. It's going to, be covered by that. So we need, 9 people we have to put in that slot?
Well, because I'm going to be the one making the lumber, I'm going to rush that second character to 15.
You're rushing a second character?
Yeah, well, the first character's not going to be my lumber guy. So I'm going to need the labor points to be able to create the lumber. Because of how much we're going to need.
Are you saying you want me to put you on the 6 people for the lumber packs or not?
No. I'm going to make the lumber packs, not...
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm almost guaranteed to need the labor for it.
Yeah, you can get that between characters. You should be able to get that accomplished by the time the trees are grown.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's...
So the way I had it in my mind is to plant out 300 trees, which is what's going to be required
User
to
was
get the
moved
3
to
labor
your
packs.
channel.
It's going to take 3 people, 1,000 labor each, to plant it. Because it's an illegal farm, you have to use 10 labor per. And then it's going to take 3 people to actually harvest it. Once that's done, Ross, then you'll be using your labor to turn it into lumber and packs. Cannot be one of the people on this 9 people total using their labor.
Yeah, okay.
So we need to assign 3 people who really are not going to be using their labor for much on mining, and then 6 people on the illegal farm.
I can do the mining.
Flappy can mine. That's going to be my main thing anyway.
All right, so we'll get Tex and Flappy on mining. We need 1 more person.
I can. I spent a lot of time this beta running through a route to get some mining done quickly.
All right, there's our 3 miners, Tex, Flappy, and Don't Blink. So then we need 6 people on the illegal farm as far as the trees go for lumber.
Oru said that he's available if he wants to get assigned something.
Yeah, we'll put Oru on lumber.
I want to plant trees with Oru. It's Mythian.
Mythian's going to be a tree hugger.
Fucking hippie, I knew it.
I knew it.
You want to play with wood together?
Let's put Cortho on the lumber also.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we need 3 more people to be on the lumber. Now it'll be up to the 6 people on the lumber to decide who's planting and who's harvesting.
It'll probably be easier if we just assign it and put it right on the list.
All right.
And I
was
can do that
gone for the first 12 minutes. So are we talking about right at launch?
Yeah, we're talking right at launch.
Oh, if you're noticing chat, yeah.
Well,
Oru's
3 can
asking
plant
about
and
the...
gather.
No. You're not going to have enough lumber, so strictly we're going to have 3 people plant all the trees, and then another 3 people are going to.
Because it's going to take labor to plant.
Yeah. You plant and then rush your next character to 15, and you'll have it to 15 to be able to use another labor potion before you even get the other way. Before you have to harvest it. And anyway, doesn't it take over 4 hours anyway?
It does, Ross, but I recommend they don't all have to stay there to protect it. But first of all, it needs to be planted in a PvP zone, so you can defend the damn thing if someone does show up. But I don't require that all 6 of them sit there and guard the damn thing. But at least 1 to 2 people need to be there at all times watching it in case someone does show up. They can take shifts. We can all, as the guild, take shifts, people rotating in and out, but we need our illegal farms protected, or it can literally destroy the entire plan.
After 15 on the second character, I can stand out there the entire time, because I'm going to get so many levels doing the lumber anyway.
Yeah, I can even assign that. I'm not entirely worried about that. I want to make sure we have the right people on that. So we've got Aru, Mythian, Cortho, Teosis, Font. We need 1 more person on the wood crew.
Go ahead and throw me in there.
All right, there we go. Let me update that.
Have we worked out the cost of the saplings, Perma? Are we gonna have enough money to plant 300 trees?
Yes, we are, because of the Daru chests that we're going to get. Those are going to hit us all up with enough gold. Now, if we didn't have the Daru chest, it would be a little bit of a dicier proposition, but we can get up a massive illegal farm with the gold just from those.
Yes. And those people who did not get an Archeum pack, so if they have a silver or gold pack, we'll assist on making sure that, because this is guild stuff. This is not individual purchases, so we'll assist on making sure the saplings and stuff like that are paid for by guild money.
Yeah, think about that. Really, the whole early access, especially Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, is going to be mostly guild stuff, really. You're not going to do a whole lot for your particular account. It's just by us pooling all of our resources, we are going to get probably ahead of 95% of the people who are playing the game. Even the other organized guilds, they're larger than we are, but larger to the point that they're going to bottleneck themselves. So really, like, sort of in the order of priority, we'll be working on this. The Clipper is number one because we want to be able to sail across the ocean and get our large farms. So a lot of what we'll do is we'll build the Clipper. We will store trade packs on the farm island. We'll be building the cottage for the teleport there, and we'll also have the sawmill up. Now, again, we're hoping they don't change anything, but if they do, we'll play it by ear. Now, once we have the scarecrows, we're going to start, as a guild, we'll do that whole run together. We'll bring the large scarecrows back to our farm island. It's going to be really important that nobody just slaps something down. Like, Gary has an exact walked-off measurement for where everything's going to go. We have pretty much an exact layout in mind for how the farm island will look. So you can't just, oh, here we go, I'm going to throw it down here. So you're going to be getting with Gary when we get to that point. Now, the next big thing that we kind of have to decide is if we want to pick a secondary island where we put all of our houses, or if we want to keep our houses on the Western continent. Now, we're probably not going to have prime real estate on the West continent if we go that route, but it does keep houses on the continent. So I did want to sort of open that up for some discussion.
I plan on putting my cottage up on the pirate island.
Yep, that's already covered. Just so everybody knows, Ross is putting a cottage on the pirate island, and we'll all be able to bind to it and have a port right to the pirate island. I'm talking more as a guild as a whole.
I mean, if it's really our intention at this point to go pirate, it's pretty silly to worry about the cottages on the West Island.
So yeah, my recommendation in this, and
we won't be able to use it.
This is kind of an option here. We're not forcing anyone to do this because this is your choice. But I recommend we either place our overflow on Pirate Island if we're for sure going pirate, or the Castaway Strait Island. I prefer the Castaway Strait location, but I know that some other people prefer the Pirate Island. What was that?
I think I'm lagging. I thought you cut out my bad.
I think this definitely makes sense. There's economies to be made by having people buy each other. So whatever this room, if there's a second island, that makes sense.
And that's one of the things that we'll probably need to look at and think about is while the illegal farms are growing, we may actually want some individuals who run the run a second time to get a whole bunch of small cottages. Each person grabs 3 small cottages for the sole reason that once we get the Clipper, if we, sail on over to Castaway Strait and see that it's at least, most of it's available, we start claiming land there. Or if we go out to Pirate Island, if that's where we want to be and we see most of it's available, we start claiming land there. We just need to know which location people prefer to be, so that we can plan from that to go that direction.
Well, we're gonna need one person on Castaway Strait. Like, we're gonna have Acid as the cottage on Friedlich to give us the port there. Ross will be on Pirate Island. Has anybody been to Castaway Strait and knows that they'd like to have a house there? Because we definitely need just one. I mean, we could all end
I
up
do.
being there. All right, so we'll go with you on that spot then, Leo.
Is there a map somewhere, Cat?
Castaway Strait
A world map?
Island is actually not on any map. But if you want to know where Castaway Strait is, it's almost exactly in the middle between the Western continent and the Eastern continent. Just a little bit more in favor of being towards the Eastern continent. There's two islands side by side. One of them is any housing area type of island, and the other island is a manor only type of island. So only large houses and stuff can be placed on it.
My manor.
Now, the one thing I haven't talked about yet, which is probably pretty obvious, is the server we're going to be on. It's still a little up in the air because a lot of other guilds haven't declared yet, and it's just a weird situation where a lot of guilds that were going to be on Aranzeb are now going to be on Kyrios, which really threw things off because Kyrios was going to be my choice, but a lot of that changed today. What we're really going to do is we're going to pick two servers, and I may not even decide on it until like late Thursday night, early Friday morning. Like if you played Secret World, like I really didn't decide until day of. The only thing that's really going to deter us is Orenthal. We don't want to be on the same server as them because they are a gigantic Zerg, and they have played for so long, they know exactly what to do. I know Ross linked a video that sort of showed them out with one of the illegal farms. It wasn't as big as what Acid found, but they're fucking huge. We do not want to be on the same server as them. Like, it will be a ruined server, whichever they choose. So we're going to go in. I mean, I'm hoping I have it decided the night before, but when everybody's on TeamSpeak, we'll put it on the forums. It'll be pretty clear. We'll have a server that we want to go to, and we have a few spies in OT that'll be in their TeamSpeak. The second that they say, this is our server, if it's the one that we also picked, we're going to go to our backup. Otherwise, I really am, we're not dodging anybody. We're not looking specifically for people. Like, Kyrios has a lot of the old school guilds. I know that's where Sinister is. I know that's where Darkhand is. But Aranzeb also has mostly Harmless and Death and Taxes, and, like, they'll negate each other. And if anything, if another really big pirate guild were to sort of throw their hat in the ring and say, hey, we've changed our mind, we're not going east-west, we're going pirate, that could affect the choice as we come closer to release. But in the end, we're going to have the two, and what OT picks will probably decide which server will end up being ours. And I mean, we're going to have a lot of this up. Leo made a real nice checklist of everything. That'll be the one glaring thing that when we move that thread to the main forums, you're just not going to have a server yet. Anything that I haven't covered on your checklist, Leo, before I move to my other stuff?
No, we need to decide, are we going to try to have guild housing together on the Overflow Island, and if so, which location? Because that also decides on what we do while illegal farms are growing.
I believe that we should definitely, no matter where we go, have a guild group of houses together. I think that living together would draw the guild closer together. We'd see more of each other for sure. Islands are really good for that, so I would vote for island.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it's more protection when you have people around there. Prevents other people from being around. You could illegal plant in their own island, or it's just a lot of reasons to do that.
So do we want to try to tentatively commit to Castaway Strait then for the majority of the island housing? All right, let's do that then. Now, again, if the server we're on doesn't facilitate that, we may have to change plans a little and pick a different island, but tentatively we'll look at Castaway Strait. Again, though, this is sort of a secondary thing. Like, your personal house it's going to come a little bit after everything else we do because of just how much more valuable it will be for us to get ahead of everyone.
Yeah. Also for the guild crafters, just to give you a heads up, when we have the farm island started, meaning we place down our first large farm, for the majority of the time, it's going to be lumber only produced. And the reason being is so that lumber can then create the next large farm, until we have every large farm built on the farm island. Once we have all of the large farms built on the farm island, we will then designate sections of the farm island to be, this one's lumber, this is for the gathering profession, this one's for the farming profession. Make sense?
Sounds good.
Okay, is that it for the checklist then?
I believe that's all we have on the initial run checklist.
Okay, so that's the initial run. Now for a couple more long-term things. If you paid attention to my thread for final class choice and availability, we look really good as far as our class distribution, except we may be short one healer. So if there is anybody who is kind of on the edge thinking, well, maybe I do want to play healer, that's something that I'd be willing to definitely look at. I'm really happy with the tanks and initiators. We look good there. Our DPS is just fine. I do like the split that we've got going. We've got a nice mix of everything. But we probably could use one more healer since I'm going to be the full-time Tomb Warden. That doesn't have to be somebody who decides right now, but when it comes down to it, we're probably going to want another one. Like, we've got only one Templar, we could use it. Yeah. Well, and that's more what I'm looking for, just because with my Tomb Warden, I'm going to go the heavy song and defense build, but really not, like, song heals much at all. So I'm gonna be mostly there to keep our group buffed with the songs as much as possible. Um, we've looked a lot as to what the meta is in the different PvP, and like you've seen, we've sort of theorycrafted a lot on that on the boards and different threads. Obviously we're not going to know for sure what that will be, but just looking at our classes, we're gonna be fine. I mean, we've got 2 Skull Knights. We've got a number of dagger spells. We got a couple tricksters, dark runners. We will be able to match up with whatever the meta is. And again, this game is so easy to change your class. If something were to really pop out and be like, oh shit, that's going to be awesome, let's totally go with that. We'll be able to do that. But I think we've got a real good already sort of headed in that we're not going to have to make any major changes on that front. So that looks good. I'm not worried about that, except for maybe the one tiny healer.
So regarding healers, there are no heal weapons in the game other than crafted. Well, let me rephrase that. There are a few, but mainly the only way our healers are going to get weapons is through crafting. So it is going to be very imperative in order for us to get a jump on everyone else that we pool all of our essences, because you know how rare Arceum is, in order to get our healers the weapons they need to be successful.
And that really will be a game changer because I don't know, exactly how they decided it, but healing is so gear dependent. I even posted that today. Just leveling up healing tells you nothing versus how healing actually works. It's night and day difference. Like, leveling up, we were all like, man, healing fucking sucks. And then once we did the research and saw the videos and got more into the sort of the number crunching, it's so different. And groups that have healers that are well geared are going to do very well early on compared to the groups that don't do it. So yeah, Leo, that's a great point.
Hopefully they get the Archeum rate stuff fixed sooner rather than later. But in its current state, we're definitely gonna have to pull our stuff together just to get our healers like level 40 weapons. That's not even getting them really decent weapons. Just to get them to like a level 40 weapon, we're gonna have to pull all the Sunlight Archeum together.
Which actually brings me to another thing on my list is the early access rewards and also the credit shop with that. Now remember, the first 6 characters you make get your early access rewards if you have that pack. After that, you don't get them. It's not like account wide. If you haven't seen it, it pops up in the mail. You can grab it right at a mailbox. It's the very first town in the green storyline where you pull the daggers off the table. It's right near there. So, if you're going to go on a tear of delete, create to get labor potions, you don't want to go over 6. Otherwise, you're missing out on your own rewards. And then the majority of your credits, you want to make sure that you have a labor potion up. You can buy it, and they're cheap now, so that's fine. And a lot of us are going to have thousands of credits to start with. If you haven't been reading the boards, the mounts are really not worth it anymore. They've normalized all the speeds, unless there's like a particular mount ability you want. Like, oh my god, I want the fucking Leo Morph because I want to be able to stealth.
Damn straight.
Yeah, so like if you want that stealth mount, like so you're gonna buy that, but the speed is not what it used to be. Like what was it? Was it the elk that was 10.5?
See below.
There's the snow lion.
In chat.
Yeah, the snow lion, that's it. Yeah, the snow lion was 10.5 before. It was the fastest. If you were going just for pure speed, it was worth it. Now, no, it's not. There's specific, everything's normalized to 9 and 10 other than the trade mounts. So
Did they nerf the PvP mount?
now they've done that as far as I know, but I haven't seen a ton of people with it in open beta.
Yeah, it was 11.4, I believe.
The PvP mount was nerfed. The what's it called? Blazing arrow or whatever that you turn your horse from Mirage Island into for 500 gold was normalized down to a 10, and the ones that you get from the epic boss mobs was dropped down to 10.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah, people are up in arms about it. There's no point now to get those things.
Now, on the flip side, though, the mount armor from the credit store, that is still worth it. Those armors, the abilities that they give, that's worth it. So you may want to prioritize for your main early on, once it's over level 20, getting the mount armor and putting it right on that, because it's a world of difference. Same goes for your battle pet. Some things can be worn by the battle pet, which if you didn't play enough testing, right at about level 20, it's a quest outside Marianople. It too is a real nice addition to PvE if you're going to go the questing route to level. The other things on there, obviously the one that everybody has been talking a lot about, crunching the numbers on, are those Archeum chests. It's been the sample size is growing, but it's still real small. That's going to be up to you if you want to invest in those. You are going to get Archeum drops. You are going to get regrade items. That's going to be there. And they're your credits, so it's up to you. The anytime owl is no longer worth buying and selling. That doesn't work, so that's not a moneymaker. You're not going to want to be throwing your credits in that direction. Depending on the size house you're eventually shooting for, you may want to keep in mind buying your tax certificates that way. There is the item that makes regrading more successful that's in the store. It's not a ton, but it is a difference. So again, if you want to be thinking down the line for regrading your endgame gear, that's definitely something that you may want to save your credits for. Pretty much the only thing that's going to be a requirement is that you have to have a labor potion up the second it's available for you during the early access. From there, just with the store changes, it's a lot of your own personal preference, whether you'd have a stealth mount or more Arceum or whatnot.
One useful thing from the store that you may want to look into, especially if you own a house, is to get the 50 slot storage chest, because each house can hold 2 of those.
I think each crafting person at least needs one of those so stuff can be dropped off.
On that note, since you brought up crafting, we plan on having the 5 crafting stations on Farm Island completed. And on top of each one of those crafting stations, as long as we can fit them, because I think you can, we're going to put a chest. So there'll be 1 chest for each of those crafting stations, and inside that chest should only be the corresponding materials for that type of craft.
What's the Gildastar price on crafting stations?
30 Gildastar.
Perfect, thanks.
So you will not be able to get 2 of them on a single run, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
well,
a cottage with it at least.
Well, there's the yeah, you definitely can get a cottage with it. That's for certain. There is the possibility if some of the dailies are up at launch, we may be able to creep towards 60, but we're not going to count on that. If it happens, it's just an added luxury. But we're only planning for that 50 mark.
Aren't those level 30 though?
I think they are.
And their kill quests?
It doesn't take a ton to get to 30. And some of the dailies aren't 30. Some of them are...
No, there's one where you raise some animals, and there's one where you make a perfume.
Yeah, there's raise animals, there's perfume / flowers at the fucking Nuia, bitch.
Anyone who's doing a crafting station should probably just do the full run on an alt first. That way they're not sitting on 5 or 25 Gildastars at the end. They can buy the station, buy a cottage, and pass it on, and then level up their main.
Correct. And one of the things that we were discussing before the meeting started is, in case they do lock down
you cut out
your accounts to only having 2 characters at the start. So there's been discussions about them locking it down to 2 characters at the start with no ability to purchase yet during the head start. If they do it like that, we can get what recipes we absolutely need during the head start, but then after the head start, you can literally spin up free freaking accounts just to do runs, and you don't have to worry about deleting characters on your own account. You can have your 6 characters who do nothing but pop labor potions. Make sense?
Yeah.
Are you? Do you know if they're going to? Because I know you couldn't own 2 of the alphas on the same, like credit card and stuff. So do you know if they're going to make you use a credit card or a debit card?
I don't think that's accurate.
No, you couldn't. You could not own 2 alpha accounts on the same, like credit card.
Interesting. Well, I know right now I have an alpha account and a silver account on my credit card.
I have 2, but I use PayPal, but I had no issue getting 2.
There you go, Mythian. Yeah, Mythian said he's got 2.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't work for me. I tried like 3 times. So.
Since we're on the conversation, we'd also like to get an accounting of who has more than 1 account and they plan on running more than 1 account for the duration of the game.
McHavoc.
You know I do.
Ross, I presume you are?
Nope, they made labor potions 4 hours.
Okay.
Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
There's no need to anymore.
Yeah. Mythian, are you going to maintain 2 accounts?
One of them's the wife's, so can't count on that. I mean, yeah, I'll have 2, but it's not, she's gonna do what she's gonna do.
You just have to steal her labor points. That's all.
She's just playing the game for farming, okay?
I don't plan on spending more than, 40,000 labor points in a day.
So, what will we be popping labor potions for?
Whatever craft you're working on.
You start with 0.
So
So you
if you're not dedicated, like I'm going to be dedicated to cooking, that's where all my labor is going to go. If you're not dedicated to a creation, you're going to be dedicated to a gathering craft. Like you need to be out there planting illegal farms, mining nodes. That's just, we got to get such a huge, I mean, you can only imagine the guilds that are 30 fucking times our size, the resource sort of consumption they're going to have. We're still going to have a lot early on because of how fast we're going to be trying to move.
So you're saying, so for instance, I was allocated crafting stations, so I'm going to do back-to-back speed runs, and then I would basically after that pop a potion and just do a bunch of gathering.
Yes. Now,
and for the first couple days, outside of those we've already assigned to stone packs and lumber packs, etc., the focus should probably be gathering mining. Because
That's what I
people
was
are going
gonna
to
do.
need so much stone for getting those thatched farmhouses that they're going to want to own out. So
Yeah.
stone is going to be something that really slows us down. Once
Just
we
think of it
have
this
the
way.
farms up, the cost of labor for doing lumbering is really not that bad. Stone is going to be what holds us up.
Well, the simple thing too is we can plant trees to harvest. We can't plant stone nodes.
Yeah.
I mean, now there's locations that we know that are good, but a lot of other people know them as well. I mean, there's pretty obvious places called mining areas. There's also underwater spots that apparently give a really nice yield as far as mining goes. So if you haven't thought about underwater, that's something to think about. Yeah, everybody's gonna need to do the speed run. That's one thing. That's really why we've pushed it. Everybody is gonna probably want to do it at least twice. You're gonna want to do those first 2 characters. Now, whichever one's your main or whatnot, and if you're gonna end up buying extra slots, that's all up to you.
Yeah, so it's cool if I do like 2 speed runs and then I get third character as my main. That's not like an elf.
Oh yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah,
And
I
then
recommend elf just because of the fact that if we go pirating, the bonuses to water speed and water breath are going to be huge.
well, I don't know if I'm gonna do like a Nubian, but elf grew on me in this last beta since that was all I played to get used to it.
Is open beta still open or is it already closed?
It is already.
I think it shut down this morning.
Yeah, or we're gonna have a full guide up, and everybody will be running it. I mean, as long as you're with one other person who knows what they're doing, and I mean, we're all gonna be trying. Just how it happens. Some people get faster, a little lag slows you down.
Crashes.
Yeah, crashes. You're fucking when you glider out of the giant tower if you fall too fast and die.
You drunk and run into a lake.
I mean, there's going to be queue issues on release, I'm sure, and some people will be staggered.
Yeah, Oro gets
Fucking
random load
tigers.
screens while he's playing.
Shit, there's one more really important thing.
But I assume that question was, are you going to post a guide?
Yep, yeah. The guide's gonna go right up with the link on everything.
Cool.
You want that posted tonight?
Yeah, I think we can. As soon as you're ready, we'll move all those things over now at this point.
All right. We can create fresh threads. That way, all of our bullshit talking in the threads doesn't get carried over.
Yeah, exactly. Just copy and paste the main posts.
Put them on the wiki.
Yeah, it's make sure once you have access to the private boards, which obviously everybody does here, you can see everything in the wiki. The only thing you're gonna have to do is either change your board name to Rest parentheses Nighthound or just leave it as Rest, and then
Why does it have to do that?
See, I haven't. People have had issues if their name didn't match perfectly, didn't it?
No, they just have to put their ID in. That's what it matches on.
Okay, never mind then.
Floppy doesn't have
fucking
it.
mind.
Floppy's Floppy Bob.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, that is true, I guess, huh?
I can just make my name Nihound. I put Nihound for a guild in
No,
WoW
you don't have to.
years ago.
No, Ross is right. You don't have to. You just have to copy and paste your unique ID.
Okay.
I thought the name had to match too, though. I thought that's
Only for the groups.
That still doesn't explain why Font can't do it.
If I do a speed run on my main, is that gonna screw up? Because you get to like level 14 or whatever, is that gonna screw up the skill trees a lot?
No, not at all.
Not
Once you're above level 10, the skill tree automatically goes to 10 when you respec.
Font didn't put his unique ID in. He put his username in.
Yeah, I figured that was what it was. Anyways, the main reason to do the speed run on another class is so that you can save up your Guild of Stars on your main.
Well, we were talking about that, Tay. With us having Gary be the designated commerce person, the only person who's really ever going to be getting that high in Guild of Stars, I think, would probably be Gary. So it doesn't hurt as bad. And once we get a merchant ship, it's literally going to be, every time we do a run, 80 Guild of Stars to Gary.
Yeah.
So we should be able to get recipes out quick as hell. Though I do recommend that Gary has a farm on one of the continents near a specialized crafting station.
Mythian wants a fishing boat.
So much gold.
Currently, Mythian, we can't create fishing boats. They're not in the game right now.
I quit this guild.
At what point?
Wait, they took fishing boats out?
User was moved out of
They
your channel.
broke the fishing
User
boat
joined your
when
channel.
they tried, the fact that we can't get the northern continent.
Yeah.
And so they took one of the parts out of the game to prevent people from trying to even make the submarine or the tractor and shit like that require stuff from the northern continent. When they did
Is that why they
that,
canceled the fishing quest or contest?
No, they canceled the fishing contest because I guess it actually gives you some shit that shouldn't be in game right now. But they broke the fishing boat doing it, so they're looking into it to see if they can get us the fishing boat back. But until they do, there's no fishing boat in the game. Sorry, Myth.
Yeah, it'll come back.
But personally, I suggest we work on merchant ship first, and then 1 to 2 galleons second, recipe-wise. And then after that, we can focus on other stuff.
Is that when we just go up and down the coast and blow up everyone's boats?
Pretty much.
That is the end game.
Or watch them desummon their boats and kill them in the water.
I thought they can't desummon if the boat's in combat.
You can't. If they see you coming, though.
Which never happens. It's always very stealthy.
Well, we could all swim out there first, and then we summon our boat immediately, and then get on board.
Now you're thinking outside the box.
Oh, you go on a little clipper at first, and then when someone comes to you and tries to do something, you pull out your galleon.
Yes,
Is there any more topics for the video, or can I stop recording?
No, I actually wanted to ask that real quick. Like, are there any questions that people are just unclear on? I don't care if it seems big, small, dumb, smart, you name it.
At what point are we done and we can just grind it out till 50?
Once you have got your first character to the point that you have provided what the guild need with Guild of Stars, and then if you're on any of the crew to do stone, to do lumber, once those responsibilities are taken care of.
And the large farm quest.
From there, once we're at that point, you can go for broke.
But you recommend we just do things like farm out stone just to help?
Absolutely, because you're still going to get experience from that. It's going to be worth it in the long run for everybody. But for me personally, like I'm gonna do 2 characters to 15, have labor potions. I'm gonna be farming. I'm gonna be cooking a shit ton, and then eventually I'll do some quests like the gearing up in the late 40s, which is one of the threads we probably have to bump up a little bit.
That was my follow-up question, is if, so we do the 15s, we come back, we have a level 15, and we mine with one of them to get levels, and say it's our main. Now we're way behind in gear. If we switch over to questing, how do you make up that gear?
So the questing gear doesn't really become relevant until level 50, and there's a bunch of level 50 quests that essentially give you all of your armor that are linked on the board. It's incredibly easy. I did it like level 45 or something like that. So in the end game, it's not really going to matter.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean for endgame. I just meant for the sake of leveling. You'd probably need gear.
You need almost no gear for leveling.
It's really easy, especially
the other
if you
thing is,
take
if you
the
go
5
to
seconds
like
to
the
combat
Arcade database, you can look up which quests give gear in each zone and do those ones specifically first, so that it can help you ease your way through leveling. Also, in chat they just said don't open pouches in case anybody's not reading chat. Wait until they fix the dust nerf that they just put in. So don't waste labor early on.
Yeah, you shouldn't be really hard pressed for money. Like I said, the Daru chest will take care of that. If not, just the trade pack quests on their own give a nice chunk of gold, and we'll have all that done.
How much gold were you getting out of the Daru chests? I was only getting like 3 or 4.
Oh yeah, so for the trade pack quests, are we going to wait to do those until we actually have farmed all those materials?
Yes, that's the goal. That's why we're going to spend the time to get all that out and done.
Hold on, what do you mean by farmed all those materials?
Well, right now you can go and buy a bunch of the stuff off the auction house, but say in release, that's some of the stuff that you need to do a trade quest might not be on the auction house. So you might need
it definitely
correct. It's not going to be on the so in my little checklist, I kind of have listed what we would need to do if they keep the trade quest the same as it was in beta. But I also put a note saying that there is a high possibility it's going to change, so keep an eye on it. So basically, what we would do is as soon as you get your small scarecrow, and if they leave the quest the same, you'd immediately plant 4 olive trees on it, because that's going to be needed in your 3rd trade quest. And then you would immediately go to all the different public farm, public ranch, public nurseries, and plant the stuff you would need on those things to get the farming going on them. It shouldn't take that. I mean, literally the thing that's going to slow us down on this, if they keep it the same, is going to be olives. Olives have an 18-hour grow time. Everything else is about 4 to 5 hour max. So we should be able to, within the 2nd day, have our large farms. So absolutely, we will have to grow the shit ourselves. Is Font still failing at his unique ID?
Very much so.
Gotcha.
No,
Disconnected. Connected.
When I look at the field, it starts with your username in it, and then it has the thing at the end. But I removed it and ran it, and I removed your username from it because it's not supposed to be in there, and it still didn't work. So I'm assuming it's wrong.
Copied his unique ID wrong?
No, I don't think so. Let's try it again.
All right, back to it. Any other questions, things people aren't clear on how they're going to work? Because those were 2 good ones. And what do you know? Font's finally got it.
He's not in the arcades group either. Damn it.
When do we go pirate?
We, first of all, have to get our Hasla weapons before pirate happens. Because as it stands, without the library open, Hasla weapons are like some of the really, really good weapons, especially for our DPS. We gotta get those.
DPS, tanks, casters, basically anything but healers need the Hasla weapon.
Yeah, everything but healers. We have to get them the Hasla weapons.
Personally, I would
and
say
crafting.
I would say we let the server shake out a little bit before we try to rush to pirate. You know, at least have the northern continent open up, so we see how that's the lay of the land's gonna be for that. And we're probably gonna need to, farm like Greater Howling Abyss and stuff like that to get gear for people because we're not going to have the Arceum to be able to craft the good gear.
Yeah, I mean you have to be talking about at least a month, probably more, just because you're not going to have the materials for that long. Arceum is going to be really scarce to begin with.
Until they are pretty much gating us because of the Arceum. If Arceum was abundant in the game, I think we could be pirate within like 3 weeks. But without that, it's probably going to be at least a month. I know you're not liking that answer, Ross, but that's, in my opinion, how it's going to.
Well, I mean, this is why we're rushing to set ourselves up to be successful pirates, but we're not rushing to commit to the status just because we don't want to be fucked on everything. Now, eventually, we just want to be able to kill everybody and have a great time doing it. But until we can actually have it and be successful, we don't want to be locked into it because it takes so much effort to come back from being a pirate. It's not even worth it.
You know, if there's one thing I know about pirates, it's that they plan very carefully everything they do.
Well, exactly.
I mean, personally, I'll kill a person here or there, but I'm not going to keep killing so many people in our faction that I'm constantly in jail because I will drive myself crazy. So when we get to the point that we want to kill people all the time on our own faction, we're going pirate. That's the way it is.
Yeah,
I'm not running a freaking quest every single day to keep my freaking whatchamacallit down.
Hold on,
jail time could get extensive.
To respond to that question, Aru, they've specifically said that they're going to watch how the servers grow and they're going to watch how the different guilds behave, and when they feel like they can open the northern continent and it's not just going to be one guild who rushes in and claims all 5 keeps, they're going to open it up.
Forever.
Question is if they do that differently for each server, because that answer differs.
Yeah, and I'm wondering because I would think they would have to do it differently for each server.
Yeah,
they're not actually.
I'd be surprised if they do.
No, I know.
They've already
exactly.
said they're not. They said that the European servers may be a different time than the NA servers, but they're going to look at servers as a whole. So when they feel the servers as a whole are in a mature enough state, then they'll release the Northern Continent.
So basically, when they think Orenthal's server has enough competition for them to not own every castle.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yes.
Can they just take the castles anyway?
I don't know what the limits are on that, frankly.
I guarantee you by the time the Northern Continent's released, Orenthal will have the stuff ready to claim all the castle spots.
I think really by the time it's released, we're going to probably be geared out and already be heading towards the pirate decision anyway, so probably won't be of that much assistance.
Yeah, the Northern Continent for us is literally, the only benefit is going to be I'm going to plant a shit ton of large farms to do Arceum farming.
I mean, that's the big advantage for everyone, right? Trees, trees, trees.
And once we get the Arceum farms going, that's when we start getting better gear.
No, Aru, the Northern Continent opening isn't the level cap as well. That comes a little bit later. There's particular stages that it's sort of, it's just going to be just like the Korean patches. That like we're getting 1.2 to start, and then we'll eventually get through the progression. But the level cap comes a little after.
Anything else
for
the video? I'm going to shut it off here in a minute.
No, go ahead and shut it off probably there.
Go ahead and shut it off. So they talked about